What's going on, y'all? Hey, look, man. I be trying to tell people, you know, when you look, look at those switch two numbers. Oh man. Oh my lord. Oh. Ooh. Ooh. PlayStation numbers are looking good too, but remember, they were on sale for a whole month, which is good though. This is pro consumer stuff. Now, one thing I'm gonna tell you guys right off the bat is those Xbox numbers are dog. Do Ubi slop turd with that picture you saw on my thumbnail. Yeah, I micro slop. Absolutely garbage for December. This is what happens when you don't do deals. November numbers were trash. December numbers were trash. It's embarrassing, bro. This is what I mean. But let's talk about these Switch 2 numbers and then PlayStation numbers too. And our Switch 1 with Switch 2. Boy, we talking about 4.5 million units. Move for the Switch family in December. Absolutely juggernaut. This is how you keep the industry up. And then we're guys, and then we're gonna talk about. Remember, this is sold through, not even shipped. We're gonna talk about the total numbers, and then we're gonna talk about how look at how important the Japanese market is. Let me zoom in for y'all. Get those binoculars if you need them, or a magnifying glass. Yeah, it's real. 1.32 million consoles sold in Japan in 1 month. That shows you how important that market is, but how Nintendo has it encrypted. AES 256 encrypted. Maybe something even more than that, because it's like, damn, trying to tap into that and get those numbers is insane. The Switch 1 outsold the PlayStation 5 in Japan in the holidays. Nintendo has an insane domination in Japan. It's freaking nuts, man. But 3.8 million consoles sold. Look at PlayStation 3.38, but the keys they got that European market unlocked, but Nintendo still sold 800,000 in Europe. I mean, when I look at Xbox, of course, North America makes sense, but 1.1K in Japan, that makes sense. But good Lord, 438K, dude, nobody wanted one, man. And even then, I bet they're okay to get that, I guess. Yeah, we need the Steam machine to come on the market for the holidays and stuff like that. Guys, look, here's the thing. There's a lot to talk about here. You see these Nintendo numbers across the board, right? The Switch 2 numbers. And I love the PlayStation numbers too. Remember, I game on all. They have what I like to call, and I was saying this before, equilibrium, where it's like you see an even balance across the spectrum, even in Europe, with NA and Japan numbers, and then worldwide outside of that. That's one thing I know that Sony always wanted. Microsoft's never going to get that because they don't have a base in Japan. It doesn't work like that. So they got to do like services, cloud, stream, and all that. But if you really look at their numbers at the top, that's called equilibrium. Balance is the key to victory, not power. Power never won anything. As you see there, it's not about specs. That's what I try to tell people. That's why the stuff that you have now and Sony delaying the gen, it's okay. It's fine. Everything else getting like, dude, they just weren't optimizing for that. They were screwing you over. But this balance that they have is really good. I mean, guys, we're talking about almost 4 million sales in December. And you want to know what's so crazy? Let's take a look at what VG has them at. Though I know that it would ship there farther than this. They sold 16 million consoles in 6 months. Remember, it came out in June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Damn near 7 months. Yeah, you see what I mean? Guys, about 6+ months. Give them about 7. Yeah, about 6 to 7 months. They sold 16 million consoles. Do you know how insane that is? That's record-breaking numbers right there. And this just gives you the idea of the demand for a Switch 1 to Switch 2 upgrade more than anything. And what people want when it comes to that hybrid aspect. And the way that they do things is that exclusive power I was telling you about. The brand they built, the mascots, their games. You know what I mean? It's not about power. It's about exclusive power with them. Because they're the exclusive power of the gaming industry, the soul of the gaming industry. Mario is the reason why we have console gaming, the reason why it was successful. And I tell you what, if you look at the first week of January too, they're still winning worldwide. And look at those Japanese numbers. Do you see this stuff? 216K. That's what I'm saying. Like, whereas Sony, it's in Europe, but Nintendo still has decent numbers in Europe. Now you know why Nishino wanted to get some ground in Japan, because he's like, damn, this market is still like that alive, but Nintendo is the one that's making it alive. Just like the handheld market is alive, but Nintendo is the one that makes it alive. When you really think about that, it's like, yeah, the Switch 1 is the reason why you see all these other handhelds and imitations that exist, and why the PC community even has a handheld community, and why Valve did what they did with the Steam Deck. Gabe Newell said it. You know what I mean? Everything for him was looking at Nintendo. I mean, he looks at PlayStation, but the way that Valve has shaped a lot of things when it comes to hardware and a lot of things is because of Nintendo. And also Linux as well. You know, we got to do that. And plus, you know, they do a good job with other things. But here's the thing, when you talk about console gaming and some people saying it's going down, it's like, no, it's just Xbox. Nintendo has picked up that weight massively this year. It needed to launch last year. That helped the gaming industry big time. You want it to be healthy. Remember, this is something else that's not using Windows 11, something that's not chasing AI, a company that's not lay off its developers. It's not a ridiculous company at the top on the market cap, where it's in the top 5 in the entire world, being ridiculous, searching at, no, none of that stuff. And it's ahead. And this gives you the idea that the gaming industry is not an industry you come in and hit the buy button on and everything works and you can just buy it like it has no soul. That's one thing I love about it. Microsoft tried to monopolize with Activision. What happened? Look at Call of Duty, worst ever. Bethesda, they're falling apart all over. People leaving. Pete Hines leaving. All the stuff you hear about Elder Scrolls 6. Redfall was absolute garbage. The Elder Scrolls Remastered did not do well at all. It launched terribly. Starfield did not do what you thought it was. Doom, the worst out of the 3 recently. No, you never heard about it. Just disappeared. Everything has tanked down. So hitting that buy button isn't always a good thing. Definitely when you're in that Marty Bird Ozark position. If you guys have seen that, yeah, don't make that deal. But they did, and things have not gotten better. Game Pass went up. The console price went up significantly. Hardware sales did not increase. The first Call of Duty Black Ops 6 they got when they monopolized, they lost $300 million. So they spent all that money. For what? To do all this? To get in this position? You see what I mean? There's more to the gaming industry. There's a key and a soul to it. And there's formulas and ways that things work that are not just hitting the buy button and winning. Nintendo don't monopolize like that at all. They're all in-house. And I'm telling you right now, this is all in-game showing up. That unity, the unbreakable Naruto bond that you see in-game that stood together for 35 to 40 years that never broke apart is smashing right now. And then when you look like the bond after that, it's Sony, because when Sony at least does acquisitions, they work with those studios and they feed them and they grow together. Look at, since they got Naughty Dog, you see what I mean? Look at how far they come all the way to now. Everything that you see Sony has acquired, they work with all those studios. And they've grown together. They don't like break apart like that. They know how to build. Even though like I don't like some of their money hat stuff and all that, but they still know how to build. Xbox, when you look at that and you see Microsoft is incapable of helping things grow and build. All they do is buy and monopolize, and then what they have, they kill and destroy that. They were left down to only Halo, Gears, and Forza, right? And Halo was dying, Gears was tanking down. Forza was the only thing kind of being upheld because those devs are that good, and they had to buy Obsidian, they had to buy Bethesda, they had to buy Activision, they had to buy Double Fine. You see, to get all that, to post that in front of you, but that was prepackaged. But what are they capable of building? Ever since they got Activision, they got worse. Ever since they got Bethesda, they got worse. Ever since they got Obsidian, they got worse. What happened with Outer Worlds 2? That died off. What happened with the other games they make? Nobody cares about it. Nobody cares about Grounded. Everything tanks down because they're not capable of growing. Their hardware keeps getting worse and worse. They're killing it off more and more. I like the direct yesterday, but once again, that's Playground Games showing off their 2 games. The studio is kind of upholding. That was kind of there. You see what I mean? But when you really look outside of that, let's see what they're really going to do. We're talking about to stay healthy and grow in multiple fields in the gaming industry. This is a thing that they're missing. Everybody knows this, and it's disappointing from an American identity standpoint. Because I told you, this identity crisis stuff is very real, and it's something that matters big time. Nintendo's identity is superior. Sony's identity is strong too. When you see that PlayStation sound effect, it means something. You see that PlayStation logo, you see what I mean? It means something. You know what I mean? When you see Nintendo Power, where they like Nintendo, that means something. When you see Mario, that means something. When I see Master Chief now, what happened? You know what I mean? When I see Gears now, where's that at? You know what I mean? What happened with Halo? Like the identity's gone. Satya even admitted that, like, we have no franchises anymore. Let's just go third party. And then when you do that, it's like when you do any of these showcases, when you do any of these announcements, it's immediately not identity. It is available everywhere. Yeah, I can have her too. You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't feel like there's an identity to Xbox anymore. It used to be like voice chat and all that, and there was some identity there, right? But when you look at Nintendo, man, they're strong. And that's why I think they're the best leaders, because they know what they're doing. They're the heart and soul of gaming. And Steam helps out a lot too in the PC world. But we're talking about console gaming, how this got started, how we got this far. You see? And this right here makes me happy because this also tells you that gaming is not about power. It's not about overbloated specs. It's not about NVIDIA and all that crap. It's not about buying the most expensive technology. What really matters in gaming? Nintendo shows you that. Sony to an extent too. They're a good hardware manufacturing company, so they can move stuff. But there's things in gaming that matter. They're important. Good formulas, good stories, good direction, good publishing, good community connection, good writing, evergreen formulas in gameplay, having fun. You see what I mean? When you look at like this generation, they forgot about all that stuff. AI, goose chase, live service, microtransaction, gambling addictions, trying to exploit you, manipulate you, rush stuff out on the market, make more money off you. None of that is that. You see what I mean? All these repetitive garbage formulas, open world being so bland because they're all similar like the Ubisoft games. And you see all that type of stuff missing. That's why you want Nintendo around and you need them. I'm telling you right now, because when their games chart, you're like, here we go again. We're not seeing FIFA, Madden, GTA, Red Dead. You see what I mean? 2K, like same thing over and over again from third-party developers. And there's nothing innovative or creative coming out with some sense of power to change the industry. Arc Raiders was a nice touch. But you see what I mean? It's a new IP. It came out of nowhere. It's nothing. Not seeing the same garbage Call of Duty every single year too. That's recycled and made by AI now in like 6 months. People are waking up to this stuff, and it's making me happy because they're realizing where gaming is at and what gaming is about. When you turn on a Nintendo Switch 2, there's no Spotify, there's no Netflix, there's no Hulu, there's none of that. It's straight gaming. And you got all the retro stuff too. It's all about gaming. You see what I mean? That's what gamers want to do first and foremost. People are going back and playing older games. So if they're doing that with overpowered rigs, what are we doing here? You see what I mean? That's not what it's about. It's about, man, I like good video games. You see? And nobody has given more to the gaming industry than Nintendo. You know how many games they've dropped yearly for 40 plus years since they came in the gaming industry? People remember that type of stuff, the memories they left, the soul and heart that they put into it, and that they still continue to do to this day. And you build that for a long time. People don't forget that. And it is true that, of course, more memorable games and sequels generally do better than new IPs. It's hard to get that to go. But you know, when you do get it, it works and it's nice. But obviously you need your same face, familiar face, your mascots to appear. And that's what's disappointing about Xbox. It's like, you guys don't have that no more for your ecosystem to stand on its own. It has to be somewhere else. But yeah, but guys, I mean, these sales, like when you think about it, like I said, 3.8 plus almost 800,000. They moved almost 4.6 million Switch family units in totality. Now, the math is obviously different between these two, but it's the Switch family still selling. It's like when the PS4 was charting with the PS5, because that's total profit coming in. And you just look at Xbox, it's like, good Lord, man, what's going on here? You got this 9-year-old console dogging you. You see? And then Sony's just leaving you in the dust. This is not even no competition here. This is what happens when you don't do deals. See, people wanted those deals. That's how much they rushed to PlayStation. And there's people leaving Xbox too. There's a lot to talk about here when we talk about this whole thing, because it's like, we're not talking about even a million here. I would have been okay with that. You know what I mean? See, I'm sitting here saying I wanted you to do better. This right here is absolutely pathetic. I guarantee if you put Next Playground here, it's not too far from that. Though they probably did good in December. But yeah, guys, I mean, them doing 16 million in under 7 months, it's absolutely juggernaut. That means they can end up selling like 22 to 23, 24 million consoles by that 1 year launch window. And that is insane for your first year. Somebody else who's also full of it that I have to call out is Christopher Drayton. He was wrong, but he likes to do this clickbait stuff, doesn't he? I called him out on Twitter too. You guys go take a look at my Twitter. I'm not signing on here yet though, but yeah, looks like PlayStation 5 is about to be at 90 million. I mean, they got it. They hit that 100 million with GTA and the Pro and everything else coming. It's going to happen, extended generation. And I think the Switch 2 can get to 100 million. But I want to see what happens with the rest of this year with the way prices go. So you guys let me know what you think about this. But this is something to talk about, because it's like, why are they selling this much? And then when you look at it from a PC perspective, you realize that that's not the way to do it. Because then you would be saying, why are you not buying these specs compared to these specs? It's like, there's a lot more to it than that, and I just explained it, plus the hybrid aspect and making the greatest design of all time. Like, they constantly do it, and they make gaming stay alive and more relevant when you need it now more than ever. And boy, I tell you, video game consoles and the video game industry needed the 16.09 million. It was probably more than that last year, more than ever, with this tank off falling. This is significant, and I tried to say that before those grifters got too started, that you don't realize how much they're going to lift up the gaming industry and how much you need them, and how much this year third-party developers and publishers are going to be coming to the Switch 2 to make a ton of money, and they're going to get that profit, their publishing power, and be able to expand upon their games, make more expansions, and make sequels, and it benefits everyone. And the Japanese market being healthy is also incredibly important for creativity and amazing games coming out of there. And then we're going to have stuff coming out of South Korea eventually. I think India is going to be joining in, and whoever else wants to be joining in on the gaming industry. China as well. We already know they're in here too. And I can't wait to see how things continue to go. So like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. Once again, amazing numbers. And hey, don't hate, congratulate. We don't do that here. Later, y'all.